Hey, welcome back to Night Owl Movie Talk, keeping you up on all the latest movie news. Pierre, my man, what's next?
Well, hopefully we have Gabby Petito.
Wow. Okay, I'll take it from here. Um, this week, the paparazzi and the protesters alike were both out stalking the Gabby Petito movie. If you're not familiar, Gabby Petito was a true crime story that popped up in America during the pandemic when everybody was locked down, so the ratings were extra high on this. Um, this young girl was on a road trip with her boyfriend, cross country, went missing. Police body cam footage of her turned up, and then, where is Gabby was all over the news. And then, of course, she ended up, foul play fell upon her, and her boyfriend had done it, and then he ended up, also taking care of himself as well. So that case, everyone sort of knew that that was going to end up being a low, cheap-made movie. Well, first, the way it works is the news makes their money off it. Those vultures sweep in first. They got the best chance to get all the latest as it develops money. And then the secondary tier is the news magazine shows. They come in and it's all just like, interviews with people and slow, like, mini documentary type things with sad music. And then the third set of vultures are usually the magazine people or website people. And they write kind of their think pieces and did Gabby Petito actually deserve it, or whatever their hot take is to get, clicks. And then later on, we know once that all passes, you're going to get the book and then the movie. So now we're to the movie stage of the Gabby Petito story. Um, so there's three levels of these when the movies come out. There's either the low budget direct to red box, like floating around in the various streaming sites that you could tell they made this with a video camera for like $13 because they weren't afraid of getting sued or whatever. And then there's the second tier, which is the Lifetime movie. They really do true crime well, but they always, especially want to focus on women-centered crimes, and this screamed Lifetime movie. If you were hoping for the best for Gabby, you would wish that she would get the FX, what's it called, American Crime Story or whatever, like they did for OJ. That's like a higher tier of crappy movie. Like you get better stars and you get maybe several episodes. It's considered like prestige television, even though it's like barely above a soap opera. But the thing is, when the protesters are giving them problems because, of course, they're making money off of this poor girl who was murdered. It's sad, the Gabby Petito's mother, I'm still sure, is having trouble at the holidays, and these people are up dressing like her daughter and shooting a movie. Tacky, 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 right? But I kind of wondered throughout Hollywood history, how often did this occur, right? So I started thinking back, like the oldest one I could come up with was Alfred Hitchcock's The Lodger. Jack the Ripper was 1888. And then his movie was 1927. It's a silent film about people who think, their neighbor's Jack the Ripper or whatever. So then, you also kind of go through and you're like, well, the Boston Strangler was in the early 60s. And then by the late 60s, Tony Curtis is playing him in a movie. And then I believe it was in the 70s was the Zodiac Killer, and then by just a few years later, Clint Eastwood is, battling the Zodiac Killer in one of his stupid Dirty Harry movies. That one always rubs me the wrong way because it's like, ooh, like really? I believe it's straight up Dirty Harry, the first one. I get them confused. I haven't seen it in a minute. But yeah, he battles pretty much the Zodiac Killer, and it's like, dude, there are people who are still sad at Thanksgiving over this. What are you doing? But also then, like when I was a kid, there was a famous one that Ted Bundy had happened, and then Mark Harmon portrayed him in The Deliberate Stranger, I believe it's called, which sounds like, kind of whatever. Um, so later on, there was a famous case of like a Marine that killed his wife and kids. I can't remember what that is. That was made into a TV movie with Carl Malden. So there's just this long history of it. I personally prefer like when there's a bigger gap between the murder and the movie because it seems more like you're kind of telling a historical tale as opposed to like, just picking the bones of this poor girl who's no longer with us because there's a chance to make a buck. Um, the Lifetime movie, I'm sure I won't see it on Lifetime. It'll probably end up on like Netflix or some other streaming service will pick it up because it's getting all this notoriety. The thing I learned about it and I was impressed with in to wrap this up into a happy story is it's being directed by Thora Birch, who was the little girl in Hocus Pocus, and then later on she's like, a teenager in American Beauty and in kind of a preteen or a late teen in Ghost World and stuff. And then she did TV later on and things. So we always hear these stories of Hollywood actors, young child stars going, having these crazy lives and getting way off the rails. But Thora Birch seems to have held it together and navigated it all the way from child star up through, now directing. So this whole Gabby Petito thing is, kind of a gross bummer, but it's just par for the course. So if there's a silver lining, shout out to Thora Birch for holding it together when most people can't. There, I ended this on a happy note. What do you think of that, Pierre?
Technical difficulties.
Wow, okay, well, we'll catch you later.